Hey folks, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I decided to make a video on my last two trades. One was taken yesterday and the other one was taken today. And I should not have placed a trade yesterday. It's not a part of my rule set, but generally I don't trade on Mondays with no news. And the reasoning behind this is that the market conditions are usually very unfavorable on Mondays with no news. You know, I trade the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500, and they're supposed to be a correlated pair. But on Mondays with no news, the correlation is just not optimal, and there's a lot of SMTs that you just shouldn't trust. So I try to avoid trading on Mondays with no news, but yesterday this setup appeared, so I had to try. And normally you'd see me teaching different ICT topics that people usually request me to do a video on. But as you know, if you've seen my previous videos, I do have my own model that I follow. And I figured that making videos where I review my own trades and explain my thought process would be favorable for you. At least I know they were for me, right? I remember appreciating videos like these because they are a true representation of how someone views the market, right? So let's get into it. So the first one was actually done here on the NASDAQ. So if we just replay back here, right? So what happened was we came into the week, we gapped up, right? In the week opening gap, you can see it right here, gapped up. So coming into the week, I was bearish, right? I do believe that we go lower, but what ended up happening was we tapped the new week opening gap. As you can see right here, we tapped it and then continue to move up, right? We did not even touch the consistent encouragement of this new week opening gap, right? Which I really would like to see in order for me to be bullish. So what ended up happening? We tapped this daily volume imbalance right here. As you can see, we have a volume imbalance here, right? So as soon as we did this, I figured, okay, now it's time to go visit this new week opening gap. So I was bullish because we avoided that new week opening gap. We hit the daily volume imbalance, and that is when I start looking for a setup, right? Because I do need a higher time frame PD array to deliver my setup, okay? So as soon as we hit this daily volume imbalance, I dropped to the lower time frames. This was done on the 1 minute, right? And unfortunately, I do not remember the exact reason why I missed this entry here, right? I usually trade the inversion fair value gap, right? So this would have been the ideal setup for me, right? But I missed it, which is very unfortunate. You could have taken this fair value gap here too, but I trade the inverse fair value gap usually. So right here in this case, I should have had my entry here. However, I did not, okay? My entry was right on the very next inversion fair value gap right here, because I was very, very confident that we were going to go lower, and we did, right? So this, on this very candle right here, was my entry on this inversion fair value gap. And so what I did was we came down, right? Keep in mind that my thought process were that we had to go visit at least the consistent encouragement of this new week opening gap, right? So I had a daily volume balance delivery, went to the lower time frames. I found my inversion fair value gap setup. I missed the first one, right? I do not get FOMO. I wait for the next setup to present itself, right? And that happened very, very shortly after with this inversion fair value gap. That is when I entered. And then I added even more to my trade on this very fair value gap right here. So my original entry was the inversion fair value gap, right? We came down, we tapped this fair value gap, and then I added more size to my position, right? And then I believe I added one more contract somewhere down here. I'm not too sure where it was, but I added another contract down here right before we hit this low. Just because I knew that we were going to eventually hit this low, which we also did, right? And that was my final TP, right? That was hit, all because we had a higher time frame delivery, and we had this new week opening gap that had not been filled. We had not even visited the contest min encouragement. So that is the ultimate reason why I took this setup. It was a very, very, very nice setup. Of course, the stop was placed at the recent high. I don't remember if my stop was here or if it was here. Keep in mind that it is the 1 minute chart, so a stop loss like this is affordable. So it was a decent trade, 104, I think, 105, 104. So that was the first trade coming into the week here on Monday. But I would not suggest trading on no news Mondays, again, because the market conditions are usually very unfavorable, right? So all I want you to take away from this is that I had a higher time frame delivery, right? I had a clear indication of where I thought price was going, right? And so then I look for PD arrays to get violated. Once they do, I place my entry. And I am not afraid to add to my running position if I'm very confident in my drawn liquidity or where price is headed, right? That is why I added on this fair value gap. There was not a lot of, it was right here, right? We did not hit this low, but then we came back up into this fair value gap right here. And then I added more to my position here on this when we hit this fair value gap, because I knew that we were going to take out the low. So I'm not afraid to add to my position, right? So in total, I entered here, entered again here, and then I entered again here, and then I exited everything here except for a few contracts that I left running, and then I trailed my stop loss and got stopped somewhere around here, right? So that was the first trade coming into the week. And then some of you might be asking, well, why didn't you target the contest min encouragement of this new week opening gap? Right? I do not like using new week opening gaps or new day opening gaps as my target. I prefer to only use either PD arrays that is not a new week or new day opening gap, but primarily lows and highs for my take profit. So that is why, and I was very, very satisfied with this trade either way. So I figured that this was going to be my take profit, right? And then today I placed a trade on oil, which we're going to look at right now. So this was the trade that was executed by me today on oil. This was done on the 5-minute time frame, right? I am going to go into replay mode here, and then I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame to show you exactly why I entered this trade, right? So again, I need a higher time frame PD array, right? We hit this 4-hour fair value gap, right? If we do this, we hit for the first time, we hit the contest min encouragement of this fair value gap. And at the same time, we swept this 4-hour high, right? So I have a higher time frame delivery. I have a liquidity sweep. And so then I just need a PD array to get violated, and then I enter, right? So my trade looked like this. And also, if we look at the 5-minute, we had low resistance liquidities right here, right? So once that got taken out and we hit the 4-hour gap, I was just looking for a PD array to get violated. So right here, I think I actually entered this on not on the retest of the inversion fair value gap, but as soon as I got a candle closure outside of this inversion fair value gap, which will be right here, right? So that is where I entered, and I exited at this very PD array. And then you might ask, well, why did you exit here and not at this low, right? And that is because we are on the 5-minute time frame, and this trade took 47 minutes. That is typically not something that I'm very interested in staying in, right? So I take my premium discount tool, right? And I find a PD array that is inside of discount, which was this one, a discount array, which is a very valid place to place your take profit, if you ask me. Right? I was not comfortable placing my stop here, so I placed my my profit here. So I placed my profit at a PD array inside of discount, right? You could have also targeted this fair value gap, right, which is right in equilibrium as your final take profit. However, since I entered around here, I am not satisfied with this RR whatsoever, right? So I did not even move my stop to break even though I probably should have, right? So what you can do if you target something that is further down a discount, but there is a PD array at equilibrium, what you can do is either take partials at the equilibrium point or move your stop to break even when we hit that equilibrium PD array, right? So that was the oil trade. So great week so far. I hope y'all had a great week too. Keep in mind that I primarily trade futures. I traded Forex a lot once. I moved on to futures. So you will not see any live executions done on Forex pairs, okay? That is not to say that any of the stuff that I teach on this channel does not work on Forex. It absolutely does. Everything that you can learn on my YouTube channel, you can apply to Forex just as well as you can apply it to futures. Don't question me on stocks or crypto. That is not my department. I have no idea. But I know for a fact because I have traded both and ICT have both traded. He has also traded both. It works just as fine on Forex as it does on futures. Okay. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because I've gotten multiple comments asking me if this stuff works on Forex, and it does. So don't worry. So this was the 2 trades of the week. Let me know if you enjoyed this short video. And if it was of any help, keep in mind, these are both trades that involves a higher time frame PD array, right? This one also had a liquidity sweep, which is even better. So I hope you enjoyed. And until I see you in the next video, bye-bye and stay blessed.